female Larynn, and welcome to CTV Live, and welcome to Media Maven, where I'll be introducing you, the inspirers, educators, entertainers of the media industry. And today I have with me the Media Prince, and he is the CEO of MediaPrince.com. You are a TMZ contributor. I've seen you recently talking about something. We're going to get into that in a minute. And you are a news media correspondent. I've seen you've been on WSA 9 and some other. Tell me more about the more news media corresponding that you have done, and how did you get into that?
Okay, so I've also done Fox 45 in Baltimore and ABC2 in Baltimore, and that was with another talk show called APTV Live. Okay. So kind of like a hip funk new wave for millennials to just come and check out all the latest new music and what's happening in the world. Let's see. I started doing this in 2014, but I was doing it under the Urban Informer, which was a subcategory of 93.9, and I was the album review editor. And I kept saying, well, there's so much more talent that I wanted to actually focus on. Mm-hmm. But you know, if you're under a platform and you're getting employed to do this, you have to do that. So I had to fight tooth and nail to get some other talent on there, which 9 out of 10 was kind of better than the talent that's just being shoved down our throats. So I said, well, let's create a platform where I can put on talents of all facets and put on the people that's really making it happen. People like you that's like really, because everyone sees the curtain. They see once you get outside, they don't see the people that's really making the art happen and who's really doing these stories. And I wanted to capture that because that's the audience that I think that need those answers so that they can inspire to do something else with their craft. So
you wanted to make the art happen and you were doing something else. Did you start off loving that? Like, this is what I want to do. I want to be in album. You were critiquing albums and working with musicians. Did you start off saying, like, this is what I want to do? Did media come to you differently through that?
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you this. When I first said I want to do my own thing, I was just only going to focus on fashion and music and how fashion and music tied together. But as I kept, you know, manifesting and growing with my career, I started noticing, well, I'm leaving this out, and this kind of ties into this, and this kind of ties into that. So then I started saying, well, let's not just do music and fashion, let's just do art, period. And art is so vast. It's I wanted to categorize it into what is your art? Because there's an art to what you do, you get what I'm saying? And people don't understand that it's like a 9, you wake up in the morning, you go to bed doing this. Like, this is an art, like the reason you saying like this great thing that's happening right now. You get what I'm saying? People they see the final product, but they don't see the art that goes into it. So that's where I was like, well, you know what? That's my thing, the art. And then art of all facets. And of course, music is like, I went to school for music too. So music is always going to be like the #1. But no, when I first did this, I just didn't know it was going to take off to this limit.
So tell me about how you broke away from just focusing on music and working with musicians, and you were working for someone. Tell me about that passion. Like, what was that passion like that drove you to say, you know what, I'm going to break away from this, I'm going to start my own thing? And how did you do that? Because it's hard, you know, people wake up saying, you know, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to work for myself, or I want to do this thing that's not in my normal realm, and they're working for someone who's paying paying their bills at the time. So what was that like for you to break away from what you were used to?
The Media Prince came about because first I wanted to show off to my fellow classmates, because homecoming was coming up, that, hey, I'm using my degree too. Like, of course I was already working in the field, but compared to how I was comparing myself to my other classmates, because in the communication department at JCSU, it's pretty cutthroat, and it's only a few people that really have stood out in that department. I was one of those. So I'm like, it's coming to homecoming. People are starting to create their own platform. So I'm like, man, I'm creating the MediaPrince.com. That's literally just what I posted. And this is back when Instagram was just for us iPhone users.
Okay.
But no, I was just like creating the MediaPrince.com. And then that was how it started. Then gradually I kept finding myself really wanting to add on to it, really wanting to do it. And I'm like, dang, look at God working. Because the thing is, sometimes you don't know this is what you're really going to be doing or this is your purpose. Sometimes you just take it off on a limb. Mine was as a show off because, you know, school was coming up, but it actually turned into, no, this is what you're supposed to be doing and this is the time you're supposed to start. And that's from there.
So would you say it was a little bit of social pressure that was like everyone, like you said, everyone is creating their own thing. Yeah. And yes, I'm working in this field too. And I'm gonna let y'all know that I'm working in this field, so I'm using my degree. And then you got your degree in music. So I'm pretty sure people were questioning that, like, oh, what you gonna do with that one? You know, like people question artists.
Exactly.
So that social pressure is what drove you to like take that leap.
Right, and then also too, at my school, our department, contrary, we're the most successful people from the school, all the comm majors, but the way that they put the pressure on the comm department there, it was horrendous. It was as if, you know, we didn't equate to anything else there. So homecoming being how they set it up, it's like with our department, they lay out the red carpet, so when you're coming there, you really have to be coming there, impressing the new batch
like
of kids.
A debut.
Yeah, so it just was that pressure. But I will advise other entrepreneurs that want to go out and do it for themselves not to focus on that, because it has to be your passion. I say if it's your passion, if it's your drive, if it's something you eat, breathe, and you sleep this, that's when you go and do that. And I started to notice, you know, despite how I got into it, I was eating, breathing, and sleeping it. And so
beautiful.
I was like, wow, this is the passion. Had to show off a little bit to get it, but that's what it is, my passion, my purpose.
Your purpose. So I want to talk a little bit about, I asked you previously what was your most memorable personal moment, and you said that it was when your mom recognized and understood what you were doing. And that is important because it's like, you know, I'm out here and I'm grinding. To anyone who's working, I'm out here, I'm grinding, but especially to entrepreneurs and people who are working for themselves and artists who are getting it for themselves. I'm working, I'm grinding, I'm hustling, I'm trying to get my name out there, I'm trying to get some credibility, some, you know, people to recognize who I am, what I'm doing. Tell me what that was for you when your mom was like, you know what, I see what you're doing. Like, what was that moment? What was the experience?
It was like, finally, you see what I do. Let's just say I'm the first generation that actually graduated with the college. But I come from a family that get a job, preferably government, benefits, and follow that career path. So me doing something like of this caliber was like, wow, like, boy, go to work, or like, you know, like, what is that you're doing? Why are you going out every night? So it went from, I know the moment where she finally noticed it and was appreciative of it is when I was just like, finally you see my world. I don't have to explain it. And there was a moment in time where I didn't feel comfortable sharing what I was doing with my family. And it's not because they didn't support it. It's just because they didn't see the value of spending all this time doing this where you can go to work, get this money, do this, do that. They didn't see that I had a vision and goal for myself and I really wanted to do this. And so now it feels great. I hear my mom, I secretly hear when I stop by the house, talk to her friends like, girl, yeah, you see my son today? And I'm just like, yeah, like, this is what I finally wanted you to see. And now that my family and friends are now supportive and like, okay, we understand why you missed this. We understand why you're not coming. So we support you and go.
So you're saying that they understand why you missed some things and you couldn't go. So what explain to our audience, because working for yourself, hustling, and in this industry, you do have to make sacrifices. Like, it's Friday and we're in here, you know what I'm saying? Like, when we could be at home or getting ready to go out or whatever. So explain to the audience what it means to sacrifice for your passion and your love, especially in this industry.
Well, sacrifice is key with this field. This is what we want to do,
right.
And we want to set that mark, which is why we are here, while others are just lollygagging. I just say sacrifice is something that you definitely will be facing with this craft. Like, I've missed family functions, Christmas events, Thanksgiving, which I was really upset about that because my brother was hungry. You miss birthdays, family gatherings. Like, I also have a group chat with my family, and they'll just be texting like, all right, we getting together, let's just get together tonight and go bowling. So I'm like, dang, I have an interview tonight, or I have a meeting tonight. And don't get me wrong, I want to make that meeting and that interview because I know that's going to help prepare me, but I'm also thinking like, dang, I'm missing out on, family, friends. But the thing is, the sacrifice is worth it, because what we're trying to do as entrepreneurs, as people in the media world and entertainment world, we're trying to get ahead. And in order to get ahead, you got to take that sacrifice. Sometimes you may have to miss that party. You may have to miss that cookout. You may have to miss that festival. You may have to miss that function to do something that's going to help prepare your career to the next level. Because once you do get to that feat that you're trying to get to, then it's a funky good old time. And you can really make everything. But the sacrifice is definitely going to be there. And I used to fight hard with it. I used to try to have my cake and eat it too. And not saying you can't. You can definitely have your cake.
Right. Explain how would you keep your balance, and what would you suggest people do to keep that balance so that they don't lose their friends?
Well, I say take at least, we're going to be working no matter what for the rest of our lives, not saying it in a bad way, but we're going to be working for our craft and what we want to do. I try to take at least one day out of each week. That's me. It's either my time to just relax by myself, go relax with my mom, go relax with my friends. Lately, that hasn't been happening because this year has been a little different. Things have been on the up and up, so my schedule hasn't allowed that. But before then, I would set aside at least a day just to make sure that I'm in tune with not the media prince, but Langston. Because at the end of the day, if you're doing all of this, but you don't celebrate or get in the gatherings of the people that love you the most, what is it all for?
What is it all for?
So
Absolutely.
that's all I say is just try to find, and the key that what's the saying? You make time for what you care about.
Absolutely. You
do. Might be dead tired, but if I have to go do this just so I could do this, then that's how it's done. And
so let's shift gears a little bit. I asked you what was your most notable interview, and you said Megan Thee Stallion. And when I saw that it was Megan Thee Stallion, I was not even gonna lie, I'm a big Megan Thee Stallion fan. I was like, yes. So tell me a little bit about that experience and meeting someone who is topping the charts and growing. She's growing so rapidly. She's growing rapidly. Like, that girl, she is winning. So tell me what that was like to interview someone that right now everybody is trying to get a piece of. So
let me just tell you guys this. That's what I'm saying. When we would see the final product, it looks so lit. That interview almost didn't happen.
Oh.
That interview almost did not happen, and that was just because there was a misdialogue between the promoters and the people that we happened to be working with, and things weren't handled correctly, so the opportunity was almost missed. But of course, the Lord had it worked out for a better reason, and we were able to get the interview. But it was kind of like a fan out moment, because at that moment in time, Fever was on its way to become out, so she hadn't even took over the summer yet. But you can already feel that her presence was like, oh yeah, she's next.
Okay, Hot Girl Summer.
Right, hot girl summer for real. I had a hot girl summer for real. The experience was quite refreshing. She makes you feel at ease, if I must say that. She really makes you, because you know how you meet some of these celebrities, you're just like, you don't say nothing till it's time to go, like till it's time to sit down. You're just like, but no,
they're a celebrity.
But no, she really was. She was inviting. Her manager was inviting. It just made me feel at ease. And then, despite all the hardships to getting to do that interview, we ended up being the official interview that day. So she was actually doing a signing, and once the signing was over, they set up the table, and everybody that was in the store sat and watched me interview her.
Yes.
So it went from it almost went eerie to really great. And that's how it is in this business. Sometimes it'd be the day of and then something shaky happens, but you just gotta roll with the punches.
Right.
And that's what happened. And now that interview was doing numbers. And Megan is
doing numbers,
helping the numbers go up.
Yes, absolutely. So just like you're saying, sometimes the day of the interview things happen, and yet people see the finished product and they don't even know. So you have to keep that composure. So what has ever been like the worst time they're like, I have to keep my composure in this moment? What was that experience, and what is some advice you would give to help people keep their composure when they're under pressure?
Okay, so a recent experience actually. Me and my publicist, just one PR, we went to Atlanta to cover an award show, and the setup to how the interviews were going to be done was chaos, like chaos, and to the point where you have that feeling in your head like we came all this way here and we may not get the material we really want based on how they have everything set up. But let's just say I got that I have A1 publicist, and she made it happen.
Absolutely.
Like in that instance it was bigger than me. It was something I couldn't control, so I had the big dogs with me that could get some type of organization to it. But sometimes it's out of your hand. I always say too is relax. Stay calm, because the moment you panic happens and everything goes, eerie. Everything goes everywhere. But it was a true testament to this business in itself. Like, are you really up for this? Are you really meant for this? When it's time to do it, are you gonna run in the corner, or are you gonna suck it up and say, let's get it done? And however you do it, just do it. Because sometimes the red carpet may not be laid out for you. You may have to just pull it out yourself and then step on it and then let all the other people watch you. So, yeah, that was
I love that. That was amazing, because that is true. Not everyone is strong enough, strong-minded, and understand that sometimes you have to fake the funk. You can't let your guests know, you can't let your audience know that this was hard for me and I had to put it together. You can't have an attitude. You can't come in there and tell them, I'm rushing right now, I'm struggling right now. You have to keep the composure, keep the flow, keep it going. And sometimes when people see that and they're going through it, they may take a step back, like, this is not for me, I can't do this. Or they show up. And it sounds like you showed up quite a few times with the Megan Thee Stallion issue, with the miscommunication, and in Atlanta you got the things that you needed, and showing up. So is that one of the things you would say that an advice you would give to someone is to show up?
Always show up, be there, be present, because the thing is, your brand is what you make it. So if it's not going that way, make it that way. It's all about, because the thing is, we have so much free access to how we can promote ourselves and how we can curate our content. So in that moment, I was like, either if we don't get it this way, I'm thinking in my head, plan B, C, D, E, of how we gonna get something and how we're gonna get it to it. So yeah, you have to show up in those times, especially those are most of the times when those things like that go eerie. 9 times out of 10, those are probably going to be one of your best interviews or the best moments, because everything that starts bad ends off great. And that's what I'm learning too, is that and it happens every so often when stuff just mysteriously gets out of whack. And then it turns out to be some of the best content I've ever shot. I'm like, wow. Come on then.
Okay. Like, thank you. Okay, so 2 more things. One, I want to ask you, what do you hope to instill in future personalities, media personalities? Like, if you had a person that you were mentoring today, if you are mentoring anyone, but if you hope to mentor someone and they come to you ask for advice because they look up to you, are the media prince. And they're like, I want to be like you. I'm trying to work my way up to being a correspondent on TMZ, a contributor, and being on talk shows. And you have a talk show of your own, the Code Talk Show.
Yes.
What do you
come
hope
out with
to?
season 2.
Season 2 is on its way. What would you hope to instill in future media personalities?
I would hope to instill faith in God, because He's going to lead you everywhere you have to go. Optimism. I'm always looking at the bigger picture. What is it? Never look at the glass half empty. I look at it half full. Anything is possible, and I'm learning that anything is really possible. I'm a living example of it. Like, I didn't think I'll be able to talk to some of the people, do some of the things that I've done today, but I always say I can do it. So I always want to make sure I instill that, like, anything is possible, and just do it. Have the courage to do it. Just do it. Whatever you feel like you can do it. And if it's meant for you to continue to do that, the Lord, with your, like I said, faith, He'll line up the steps for you. He'll line up the steps for you. And as long as you just have the courage to do it, I respect that. That's what I want to just show you, that you actually got up and went for it. Because a lot of us just don't go for it. We'll sit and watch everybody else go and let the moment cease us and just pass us by. But I want to instill that faith in God, optimism, and just to do it. Get up and do it.
Okay, so look into this camera right here and tell our audience what we can be looking forward to coming from you, the Media Prince. You can talk a little bit about the Code Talk Show. Season 2 is coming out, so tell us what we can be looking for.
So let's start with the Code. So the Code is coming out, Season 2. We just filmed it. We have two new hosts, because of course our past 2 co-hosts just moved to LA. So we have 2 new dope, dynamic hosts, and I'm so excited. We'll be doing the unveiling very soon. Of course, working on my baby this year, Prince Magazine. So it'll be my e-digital magazine that comes out this summer. I'll be also celebrating my 5th year anniversary.
Yes.
So I'll be having that as well. So it's going to be an all-in-one party. Thank you. More TNZ contributor. I'm actually going back on there. I just got they hit me today, so I'll be going back on there next week. More touring, more interviews. Let's just say I have a lot of secret stuff coming up that I'm really excited about.
You know what? I'm done with you.
The only reason why is because we want to make what I will say there is it's going to be something great that everybody's going to be like, okay, I can see this, and finally.
Okay.
That's it. I don't want to look at my publicist over there like, that's it. That's
and
it.
I peeped over there too. I'm like, she about to tell him,
but no,
cut the mic.
I have some series as well coming up that I've partnered with 2 big brands to work on.
Great.
One has already been filmed, and then the second one is getting ready to go into filming. So just working. I got like all together probably like 9 projects I'm just working on secretly. So
yes, they don't call you the Media Prince for nothing, huh?
Just taking over. That's all I can say this year. That's it.
The publicist over there, cut the mic. That's it, but doing your job, I love it. So I'm Camille Larynn, and that has been Media Maven, and thank you for tuning in to CTV Live.